Okay, hey there, everyone. Before jumping in today's discussion, I'm going to take a quick moment to introduce ourselves here. Marino Pernia, you know me. I'm a product manager with some of 15, a little more years of experience in this field. I've been working in mostly Latin America and North America, from fintech to delivery to real estate businesses. Here today we have my friend here from Malaga. His name is Wolfgang Harbauer, and he has like more than 20 years of experience as a journalist, and he's a super well-trained communicator. So he's going to talk about communication right with us today. Wolfgang.
Thank you for having me here. I'm really happy to see you.
That's nice. Okay, so Wolfgang, what about technology and this field, everything related to communication, is super hard skill for especially for entrepreneurs, for people that comes from technology business and this kind of stuff. You please give us some light on how to improve our communication skills.
Okay, I think I can take some weight from your technical entrepreneur, programmer, whatever shoulder, because I don't think this is especially a problem which technical people have. From my
Okay.
experience, it's a society problem to say it like that, and especially in business. It's true that there are some branches, maybe marketing, where people think that they are better communicators. But at the end of the day, it's not, sorry for everybody working in marketing. No, but what I want to say
No,
is the
that's true.
ability to communicate not only comes down to the ability to speak fluently and to speak a lot. It's actually the opposite. It's more about to know what to say and to know how to say so it has the most impact. And it's true that
Makes sense.
there are some businesses, some, especially from people I know from the technical background, they are like technical geniuses, but often they are not trained to stand before an audience or to do a video, to speak to the camera, and to communicate fluently. So it's true. It's something I often encounter when I talk to people, startup founders. They have this great idea, they have those great stories, but they firstly are not aware of that stories, and secondly
Yeah.
maybe have some struggle or struggling with the fact that they are not able to communicate it properly. And as we know, I know if you want to pitch your startup, if you want to excel in a presentation, then you need to know how to do that.
Yes, and I think it's a really heavy challenge for people that is, especially in that phase that you mentioned. Like they're trying to pitch their work. They are trying to show the world how cool is their work, and but it becomes really difficult for people, especially in the business side or in the technological side, especially in the technical side, to be able to craft such a speech, such a persuasive storytelling in order
Yeah.
to give it even to investors or even to potential customers, or even to
Yeah.
tell this story to someone in the same room. It becomes really difficult, even though they have this really deep knowledge about what they're doing. But and
Mm.
you know, this everyone is used to say like, if you're not able to explain your idea in 5 words, or if you were explaining this to a 5-year-old kid, you simply not have a good idea. So I think that's a little. What do you think about
Ah,
that?
no, I think that, well, there is some truth in
Hmm.
that what you just said. So if you're not able to explain it in 5 seconds or to an 80-year-old, but the second half, I wouldn't agree. So
Okay.
if you are not able to do that, that doesn't mean you have a bad idea. I
Yeah.
think it means you haven't put sufficient and enough thought into the process of defining that sentence. What I want to tell you
Makes
is
sense.
that when I work with clients and we are working on a keynote, for example,
Okay.
often people come with 5 ideas or 10 ideas. And yeah, and I
Okay.
want to say this and I want to say that. And I want to, all great, then do 10 keynotes, please. But if you want to have an impact with your keynote, you have to think about just that. You have to think about your objective, your goal, and you have to be able, not maybe in 5 words, but maybe in 10 words, to express it in one sentence. What
Okay.
do you want to achieve with your keynote or your presentation? What do you want to achieve? What is your goal? And
Okay.
I can really tell you that I would say if you work on a keynote, 1/3 of the process is that. And you may
Okay.
say, wow, this is a lot of time. Yeah, of course, then you have to write the keynote. But if you have clear what you want to achieve, everything else, that means all the points you are going to make, all the stories you are going to tell, all that will fall into place because you know what your goal is. So that means also, if you have a great story, often I have this conversation, you know, people tell me a great story and say, yeah, this is a great story. And yeah, I want to tell. Okay, but is it aligned with your goal? Does it support your goal? Does it make a point in favor of your goal? If so, oh, great story. Take it. Right. If
Yeah.
not, ciao. You know, then just make another story. Take another story. Take the story for another speech. I always keep your stories. Don't throw them
Exactly.
away. But
Exactly.
this is the thing. This is why it's so important to have that point clear and also your goal
Okay.
clear. And also when you have a product, you have to know what your product is for. For example, if I talk in these terms, what solution does your product offer? If you think about the audience
Exactly.
of your product, right? And
Exactly.
that you have that clear. If you don't have it clear, then yeah, maybe there is a problem in the definition or with your product, of course. So I think it's funny, but like a speech and a product, that it's not so different because you're
Yeah,
offering
it's not so
something to an
different.
audience. Yeah,
Exactly. And now that you touched the point of knowing your audience, your audience, normally
mm,
a good product is built upon the customer's needs or the customer's desires, no? And
exactly.
knowing your audience, especially to sell your idea, I think it's a very good strategy. Other than you, so far we've been discussing about you need to set up your goal, perfect, and also knowing that audience that you are going to explain or sell your idea. I think those are key factors to really deliver a persuasive speech and also to really touch the audience with desire to buy your idea or your product. We're not talking here about money or anything like this.
No,
To have buy-in on your speech, to
exactly,
have buy-in
exactly.
on your discussion.
Mm.
Do you think there are more strategies other than these two key points?
Well, apart from having very clear the purpose you want, why you are doing that in the case of a speech, it's, I always say that it's the goal and it's the audience. You have to know your audience as much as possible. It's not always possible. Sometimes you get invited and then, hey, but you can ask before, you can ask the organizer before, you can be in the venue a little bit earlier and you can talk to people. So you can adapt your message, you can adapt your intro, especially to connect with them at the beginning. So I think talking about that, knowing the audience, and then, of course, in terms of speaking, establishing the connection.
Okay, that's really good that you mentioned this venues, presentations, keynotes. But for example, today in our remote world, let's take these key topics that you're mentioning
Yeah.
and let's put them into this world where you have to pitch in to different stakeholders in a company. Let's say
Yeah.
you are a business leader from your company, or a
Okay.
process owner, or a product manager, or whatever
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in within a company, and how these two topics that are key essentials for delivering a persuasive message.
Hmm.
How do you think it will be, uh, let's say, a strategy to take this in a remote call, for example? How can you be earlier to the venue in that regard?
Well, you can talk to people, and you don't have to be in a venue. You can talk to people today everywhere, every time. So you can
Yeah.
actually prepare yourself and talk to that person or to some of those persons before. Actually, it's a good idea in order
Okay.
to sell your idea, I think, in general, that you have spoken to some stakeholders before. So you know the problems. I think you
Yeah.
you have to know them also before, and in order to address them. It's it sounds very stupid, but actually it's the same thing. You need to know who you are speaking to, because actually everybody, well, in a company, has different needs. They have different interests. So when you want to sell your idea, you have to know how to sell it, and you have to, when you talk to one stakeholder, and you know, well, he has this problem with my product, well, then you have to address those problems. So
Exactly. Exactly. I
yeah.
think I think and this is like some key factor into the same process of getting to know the user needs in the product slang,
Mm,
whatever we want to call it, process of creation, you know.
yeah.
And I think communication. That's why I insisted on inviting you here, because communication is crucial in this process. And normally, the professions involved in creation process are so different, and it happened to me before. They don't really teach you this in your career. In They teach you how to abstract problems from math, from physics, from whatever subject it might, you might think that it's not related to computer science, or for example
uh,
designers are better communicators because they understand more about communication, let's say interactions, because
mm,
that's what they do. They design interactions. But for example, engineers, or maybe sometimes marketeers, as you were mentioning in the beginning,
mm,
they are used to numbers, they're used to this and that, and not so much to people. So that's why I think it's really important to understand and to bring to the table communication. It's crucial to have a good product, or a real good product life cycle building, you know?
yeah, absolutely. And one thing I didn't mention here, but I think this is a very important thing, and it's about language.
Okay,
Because it's true, if you have
that's
two
important.
programmers discussing a problem, well, then they will talk in a language I will not understand, and that's totally
Aha,
fine. That No, but
yes.
this is totally fine. But if they want to sell me, the pitch their latest whatever they developed,
Yeah, yeah.
they have to sell me the result. You know,
Yes,
I'm not interested how this actually works, because I'm not able to understand it, and that's fine, because in
exactly.
this case, let's say I'm marketing.
Yeah,
I don't care.
you don't care. Exactly, you don't care.
I
uh,
care about the result.
yes.
And what the company, in case we are working in a company, of course, the goal
Yeah,
is always about the company. It's not my personal goal or my
exactly.
personal interest. It's always about the company. But does it really fit with the goal of the company? And what do we achieve as a company with that? So, of course, and it's true. And this is the thing what happens with public speaking in general. When I talk about speeches
Okay.
more, so often we are in our own bubble. We think about our perspective and we think, hey, I have to transmit the world my point of view. And it doesn't work because the world just doesn't care about my point of view.
Exactly.
And the world does care about themselves. So everybody cares about, okay, what's in it for
Like
me, what's in it for the company.
what
And
value is
when
adding to me if I hear
exactly,
you.
and when
Okay.
I'm a programmer or whatever, let's
Yeah.
stick with the programmer, and I'm a
Yeah.
programmer, I have to get out a little bit of my world and think about, okay, what
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to present to 5 other departments. What are their needs?
Okay.
What where does it fit with the goal of the company? What I just developed, and of course it's done. But often everybody is proud of his or her own work, and then they present a lot of numbers, maybe, or a lot of technical details.
Mm-hmm.
That's a way really to lose your audience, because then, you know, I don't say you don't have to put stuff like that in there, to maybe just as
Of
a
course.
concept, just as an example, no, but don't tell all the process. Tell them what's in for the company, for example. No?
That's a good point. So it's very good to know your audience. So setting your goal, know your audience. How about
Yeah,
how to build the structure of the message you are going to deliver? What key
yeah.
points could you bring us from your experience over here?
From my experience, apart from having very clear what you're going to want to achieve, if you don't have it clear, your audience won't have it clear neither. This is
Okay.
the first thing. And then, of course, you have to think about a structure. And the first thing you have to think about is how to capture their attention at the beginning.
Okay. Okay.
So don't start with something, yeah, we are all here, and I know it's the third presentation today, and I know you are all tired, but I will be quick. Okay, then everybody's already out, you know?
I've done this
They're
in the
thinking
past.
about, okay, oh, great. After that presentation, there's the coffee pause, finally. No. So it's,
Okay.
you have it, you can be a little bit creative, be a little bit different of what people usually do. If you use PowerPoint, you can use something, yeah, some provocative image or some funny thing, even,
Okay.
just do it a little bit differently, because it's like 95% or 99% of business presentation, they're all the same at the end of the day.
Dull. How the English say dull.
Yeah. And yeah, as you know, death by PowerPoint. I mean, we all died this death more,
Yeah.
more than one time.
Yeah.
So
So like
so
some sort of a spicy message or a catchy message instead of
y-
the same boring stuff that everyone is bringing to the
ask a
table.
question. You're going to
Ask a
lead them
question. That's
somewhere. You're going to lead
okay.
them somewhere. So do you want to know how we can triple our sales within 1 year with this new application? Well, then stick with
Okay.
me the next 10 minutes, whatever, but make them curious what you're going to tell. Make them curious what you're going to tell.
That's a good point.
It's true that in the speech you can be in a keynote or whatever, can be much more. You don't want to provoke your people like in a business, but with a question you can actually you can use a question. But please don't just start with, yeah, like this typical stuff. Now I'm going to present you the numbers, and now they are boring, but yeah, please don't sleep.
Did you remember this cartoon Charlie Brown with Snoopy?
I know, yeah, of course I
Okay,
know.
so I remember like to detect class and everything for Charlie Brown was like blah blah blah, blah. So like gibberish and stuff. So I think don't do that. Is your
No, don't do that.
key
Don't do that.
yes, your key
Yeah.
tip on this. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, good.
exactly. And when you have that, when you know, okay, they're listening, then really give them a little bit a roadmap. So like
Okay.
telling, okay,
Roadmap
we're
of
going to
the
talk about
presentation you are
that,
giving.
that, and that. Yeah, like no, the presentation, your main points. Of course, you have
Okay.
to have clear your main points. This is one thing. You have to think about your main points. This depends a little bit on the length of your presentation. You can have
Okay.
1 point, you can have two, three. Don't have 10. You know, I
That's boring.
it can be no, yeah, it's boring and it's confusing actually. People
Okay.
won't remember 10 points. So think about
Exactly.
3 to 4 points. It depends a lot of how much time you have. Then think about when you have a point, how you can make it a little bit juicy. When I mean
Okay.
when I say that, it's tell a story about that point. Tell a customer journey about that point. You know,
Okay.
talk about the feature. Okay, you can talk. Yeah, we have this new feature here, and I will tell you how it will change the world. And then you tell this example of that you showed it to your mother, and your mother was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." Tell a
Okay.
story. Tell an
Like a
example.
real world
Um,
example, something
yeah,
that
or something that
makes
happened to you
people
with that.
interested.
Exactly. Make it
Okay.
practical. I
Okay.
always say, like, paint a picture in their head. And stories are
Okay.
the best way
Compelling.
to do that. Exactly. People connect with that kind of stuff. But think about, you can use numbers, of course. You can
Okay.
say, hey, we tested that feature with 1,000 users and 95% said it's great. Okay, that's fine. You can use that, but maybe you also have had an interview with one of the users, and we talked to one of them, and he told us that blah blah blah.
I would make
You know,
the audience more interested in your speech instead of I interviewed 1,000 users and I came up with these statistics, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's more
exactly,
engaging. That's the word I was looking for for a
exactly.
minute.
It's stories.
Yes,
Stories are engaging. We are telling
yeah,
stories since we were living in caves, so it still works. Of
exactly.
course, the stories changed. We are not chasing mammoths anymore, but numbers.
Okay, okay, makes sense. Makes sense. So according to this,
Yeah,
it's a good idea to use support material.
yeah, of course. I think everything which helps the audience understand a little bit more. And of course, numbers are a great tool for that. But again, don't show 10 numbers. Show the
Yeah,
most important one or the three important ones, whatever. You know, it's people at the end of the day, we have so many things in our head. and
yes.
and of course, hey, if afterwards they say, hey, but I would need the numbers afterwards, they say, hey, I will send you the Excel, but
Okay.
don't show, of course, yeah, we have to have a look at numbers, no, but don't show the Excel in your presentation because nobody will read it, or even worse, they will read it and they will stop listening to you. So
Maybe one out of the 20, 30 people in your presentation is really interested on your numbers, but the other 19 or 29, they just don't really care about the numbers. They are there for something like a compelling storytelling of what you are doing, of what you did,
yeah,
of what you achieved.
yeah, but but as I said, a good number is great. But then
Yeah,
take that one number which supports your point, and then your point is supported.
exactly.
We don't need five more. You
Exactly.
know, just take this statistic which really shows that this feature or whatever you are selling at that moment is the most important thing, and we have to go and we have to invest in it. For example, no. So
Awesome.
this is something I see so often. You know, when people made their point and then they do it again and again and again. It's okay. Yeah, you made your point. And you know, actually, there is the most important thing. There
Yeah.
is one this most. Then name this one, and not the other five. You can, as I said, you can send around a memo afterwards with more details. Perfect.
Okay.
But for your presentation, don't do that.
So the presentation, let's say, let's put it into a timeline. You have to craft your message. You have to set the goal of this presentation or this speech or this motivational storytelling that you are going to present to an
Mm,
audience. So you have to know that audience. You have to know what you're going to present. Then really good, compelling structure of your message, like a nice intro, like something that you are going to put this audience into a roadmap of what they are going to receive as a message.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then maybe you are navigating in that roadmap and telling them, okay, we're here
exactly.
until the end.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then even we don't care now if it is online, if it is in person, because we are like delivering a certain type of message that we want our audience to be in love with, something like this, right?
yeah.
And using support materials as slides, visuals, maybe an inside joke or something like this that brings that those numbers that you want to show that are not that normally are good to show because they support your story,
Mm.
are good to bring. And also I think this is what a good communication, and then it becomes like a nice speech, it becomes persuasive, it becomes to the point, and it puts the message out there, the message that you want to deliver, something like this.
Yeah, exactly. But the most important thing, of course, is still missing.
What
And this
is it?
is no, no. But you know that, you know that. Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. It's like you have to have the call to action at the end. So
Okay,
you wrap it
the
up.
call
You
to
wrap it
action.
up. You bring your points again. Bam, bam, bam. So I showed you this is the most important feature, and if you want to change the course of this company, we have to go for that. And then you
Okay,
have to really tell them, and then you have to really tell them what to do. So that
okay,
this depends again very much on the audience, especially in
okay,
business, because marketing can do that kind of stuff. Finance can do that kind of stuff. So you have to think, okay, what can they actually do, and very practically, not something. Yeah, we have to have the same vision. Nah, no.
exactly. No, the call to action is mind blowing
Action,
here.
actionable,
It's
actionable, actionable.
yes, that I think that's normally what um, entrepreneurs or maybe someone inside a company providing a presentation or a long message, they are missing the call to action of what they are showing off. So
Mm,
the company it's has benefits from this hour presentation or whatever, or the audience. For example, let's say you are presenting the iPhone. So what's the call to action on that? And these guys are like masters in that, but yes. But let's say you are presenting in this things that they are creating for base camps or boot camps in cities to show off your products. In let's say in Malaga, it happens a lot where in there are a lot of companies or startups showing off their products,
uh-huh.
and maybe what you need is at the end of your presentation a call to action. Okay, that's good. That's good. So I
The
think
thing
I
is,
think
it's
that go sorry.
super related to the beginning. You
Yeah,
you have your goal, and the call to action is actually it's directly connected. So you want
to
to
your goal.
achieve that,
Okay.
and this is the action which follows that.
Makes
So
sense.
if you have your goal clear, the call to action usually is the same. I mean, if you pitch your product before some investors and you want money, well, you want them to invest in your product.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, then the call to
that's good.
action is
Invest.
invest. Yeah, this is the future.
Exactly.
Invest.
That's
Yeah.
good. So Wolfgang, any more tips that you want to give us? I created a blog post to a call with a call to action to go to a website
Very good. Very good.
and
Very good.
because as you guys now see, Wolfgang is a very good communicator, and he can help us to understand better our communication skills and how to exploit them. But any more tips you want to give us, Wolfgang?
Well, in general, there are not so many tips I can just give you. Of course, there are so many things in public speaking. It's about body language, it's about your voice and all that kind of stuff. But one tip I can give you, and it's not because I'm a public speaking coach, because I've come a long way until here. And I worked as a manager also in a startup, in a company. And what's one thing, I was technically, everything was fine, was leading the team, all fine, but I really had problems with being before an audience, being before the team, the communication. And when I started working on that, it changed everything. And this
Okay.
is my learning actually from public speaking. It's not about, as you said, being before an audience, doing a TEDx talk or TED talk even. Well, that's great. If you get there, congratulations.
Awesome.
But it's not about that. It's about being able to communicate clearly in meetings, in front of your team, in front of your company, in front of your bosses, because this will change everything. You can be the biggest genius in your company, technically. But if you're not able to communicate that, then your
Yeah,
career will be stuck. It's like that.
exactly. Exactly. So, guys,
My
here, call to
recommendation,
action.
my recommendation is work on your public speaking skills.
I know someone. So, call to action. Go go to Wolfgang website and
Yeah,
come to my website as well to, let's say, exploit your company's issues. But let's work on also on your communication skills with Treat Your Voice Online. Take a look at it. Subscribe. Leave comments in the box. Let's keep talking. Wolfgang, very nice talking to
Marino,
you.
thank you very
Awesome
much for
conversation.
having me here, and we'll talk. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.